Hello everyone, welcome back to the Union Pacific Railroad Evanston subdivision and the weekly update on progress made in the past week. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, and always appreciate comments. This update this week, not a lot actually accomplished, except that I played with the trains a lot. But I did kind of get things ready for some serious ballast action that's going to be taking place in the upcoming week. So I did a little touch-up on the ballast around Evanston around Evanston Yard, I should say. And then in preparation for doing the rest of the ballasting on the Evanston Yard, I removed all of the cars from the Evanston Yard and put together a train of 105 cars, which you'll see in just a little bit. The touch-up work I did was some bare spots here that was caused by the protection that I had. I had some styrene up there to protect the backdrop, and it caused a couple of bare spots here on the edge where the ballast wasn't able to get behind there. And then I also was not happy with the color of the ballast. It was too much of a contrast from, here's another empty space, too much of a contrast from the ballast in the backdrop. It was a little bit more brown, needed to be a little grayer, so I came up with a new mixture of ballast. 3 parts of gray and just 1 part of brown, and kind of put that over it. So I kind of sprinkled some more ballast on here with a higher gray content, and you can see it definitely blends in much better with the backdrop than without it. I usually use for the yard a 50-50 mixture of gray and brown, and this time I just used the 3-to-1, 3 gray to 1 brown, and it definitely came out a little bit better. Now it's just sitting there loose. I am not going to actually bond this down, because that would involve spraying with water again, and I don't want to get the backdrop all wet. And if I put the styrene up there again, it's just going to push it around, and so I'm just going to leave it there. It's not like anybody's going to be reaching back there. The only problem I'd have is if there's some crap gets on it and I need to vacuum, that would be a problem. But anyway, I'm just going to leave it. I think it's going to be fine. I don't think it'll be disturbed. Then I have the rest of this to do. Was going to try and get some of this done this week. However, I had too much fun running trains, and I wanted to get all these cars out of here before I ballasted, obviously. And before I got them all out of here, I kind of wanted to make sure I was at the end of an operating day. So I kind of waited until I got all this operation done, which was a lot of fun. And I came up with some yard engines here that were in the yard. A AC 4400. Here's a couple of ST70Ms. The AC 4400s by Scale Trains. The ST70Ms by Athearn. And then here's a couple more. This is another AC 4400 by Scale Trains. These are going to be mid-train DPUs. This is an Athearn -9. And I wanted to wait till the end of an operating day, because so the cars are in specific locations for where they're going to be headed to next. And I kind of wanted to wait until the end of the day so that I can hopefully put them back into the yard when everything's all done. I could put it back in the yard in the same spot that I removed them. So there's basically 4 tracks of cars here, and each track has about 22 to 28 cars. Altogether, there's 105 cars. So this is going to be the lead engines. We're going to have 5 locomotives total. And we're going to go ahead and see if we can put together this 105 car train, and also going to see if we can make it all the way around the layout. without any mishaps. The goal is no derailments, no uncouplings, no issues. And I have to give you a hint here. Did not make it without some things happening. But it's all stuff that's explainable. But we're going to go ahead and watch the train being put together, and we'll get started on the trip. And I'm going to have a part 2. It takes quite a while to put the train together and then go all the way around. All the way around is about 20 minutes. Actually, I think it's a little bit longer than that, like 25 minutes. I wasn't going very fast. So we're going to go ahead and watch the train be put together here. And then there's going to be a part 2 that's going to be the actual 105-car trip around the entire layout, including the helix, which is where one of the mishaps happened. I shouldn't give too much away. Overall, I was pretty happy with the way it operated. So I'm pulling out a first string of cars here, and this is the train that's put together for the LUJ 63 local that will go out. This is going to be a westbound train that's going to be heading to Wholesome Cement. And I think in this particular train, there's 20-some. I know in the first 2 together is 53 cars. I was trying to figure out what would be the good distribution of the motive power. But we'll go ahead and pull this entire string out. I think this is the longer of the 2 trains, the 2 locals. I think it's like 28, and then the second one is like 25. So again, I wanted to keep these cars together. And we're going to go ahead and stop now and pick up the second string, which is LDR 07, which is another local train that will head out eastbound towards Green River and has a stop at West Vaco to drop off and pick off covered hoppers at the Trona plant. I'm not sure how they put together these long trains for moving across the main line. I assume they probably would have yard engines put this together. But I'm going ahead and running this onto the main line because it's just my lead track obviously is not long enough to perform this operation. So I'm running right now onto the main line already. So that's why I'm using the mainline engines to go ahead and put this together. So now for these 3 engines are pulling 53 cars, and it's already on the grade going up towards the Aspen tunnels, which is the toughest grade going up. I think it's like 1.2%. In fact, there's a section in the furnace room that's a little bit higher than that, maybe 1.5%. So it's definitely the toughest grade for eastbound trains. But it seems to be not having any trouble whatsoever pulling these 53 cars. I think on a motive power per, or I should say cars per motive power unit, HO scale is much closer to the prototype than N scale. Each individual locomotive can pull more cars, and this is just my experience. Each locomotive can pull more cars than than what you can in N scale. So I'm basically pulling 105 cars up a pretty serious grade with 5 locomotives, which is kind of what you usually see if you have a 105 car train. 5 locomotives is pretty comparable to what the prototype does. I'm not sure if you could do 105 cars up a grade in N scale with just 5 units. Of course, there's somebody out there, and please feel free to comment if you have experiences of that happening in the N scale. I love the N scale. I did it for 50 years. I have nothing but good things to say about it. Just making an observation. All right, now the remaining 2 tracks of cars are just simply yard cars. So these aren't in any particular order. Like I said, I wanted to make sure I kept the 2 local trains separate. If I had tried to do this in between, in the middle of the day, there would be a lot more different sections that I have to keep track of which cars are which. So at the end of the day, you basically have the LUJ 62 or 63, LDR 07, and the remaining yard cars. So it's 53 in the first segment, and then 100, and then 52. I don't remember. I think there's more in this first section, and then the fewest cars in the last section. Now, what I'm doing here, if you noticed, I pulled the cars up with the mid-train DPU, and then when I stopped, I used my throttle to change CV configuration variable 19, which is for advanced consisting. So I have the whole train assigned to GCC number 98. And so when I changed the configuration variable 19 for consisting, I changed it from 0. When it's 0, it's just whatever the number is for that particular unit. So I changed configuration variable 19 to 226, which is 128 plus 98. And it's 128 plus 98 because both of these DPUs are going backwards. If they were going forward, I would change configuration variable 19. Now here I'm trying to look and make sure the wheels are turning. I would turn, if they were going forward, I would change configuration variable 19 to 98. So I didn't quite work the first time, so I'm making sure the wheels are turning, and it is actually helping with the train moving. All right, so the whole train is put together, 105 cars. And there's where the biggest grade is, going up through the furnace room. All right, here's the head end of the train is all the way up here. And that's already kind of going through a crossover. Wanted to make sure I went through some crossovers this time. Last time I did a 100-car train, somebody said, well, you never went through a crossover. So this time we are going to go over 2 crossovers. All right, and that video is going to be in a separate section, a separate video. This is going to be the end of this video. I wanted to show you, though, before we left and concluded, what the yard looks like. Completely clear of cars and ready to go for ballasting this week. Still need to move some of the structures and stuff and trees that's up against the backdrop. A lot of debris in here that I didn't realize was there. Anyway, this is going to be ballasted over the next couple of weeks, so look forward to seeing that. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. That's it for this video. Another one, the 105 car train coming up later. Take care.